I am 30 male. My now ex-wife Julia is 28. We were married for a little over 2 years, but we were together for almost 4, and my former best friend Brandon, 31 male, knew him since college. We were close, like annoyingly close. We would go months without texting and still pick up like nothing changed. Or so I thought. So anyway, I own a web development agency. Not going to name it for obvious reasons, but it is solid. I have been building it since I was 24, working 10 to 12-hour days, managing clients, writing code, leading a small team, the whole thing. I built it from the ground up. No rich parents, no lucky breaks, just grind and decent timing. Julia and I met through a mutual friend at some networking thing. She was not in tech. She was doing social media freelance stuff, mostly branding and influencer-type content. She was hot, smart, and had that fast-talking, always planning something energy. We hit it off right away. Within 6 months, she was living in my apartment. And by the end of the first year, we were married. She always said she loved my drive. That is how she put it, your drive. She liked that I had my own business, that I did not work for someone else, that I had goals. But after we got married, she pretty much stopped working. Said she wanted to figure out her next move and explore creative things. I did not love that, but I did not push back either. I was doing well financially, and honestly, I did not mind covering the bills if she was happy. Brandon and I go way back. We met during freshman year orientation. We both sucked at making friends, so we kind of defaulted to each other. We bonded over video games, dumb business ideas, and eating garbage food while cramming for finals. After college, we kept in touch. I offered him a job at my agency when I needed someone to help with operations. He was good at organizing stuff I did not want to deal with. Contracts, client scheduling, keeping track of projects. We were a solid team. I still remember the first time I introduced Julia and Brandon. It was at this chill little dinner I put together not long after Julia moved in with me. Nothing fancy, just takeout on the balcony. I figured they would get along, but I did not expect them to click that fast. Within 10 minutes, they were already trading sarcastic comments and laughing at stuff I did not even fully catch. Brandon said something dumb about how I used to hoard Hot Pockets in college, and Julia ran with it like they had known each other for years. I remember thinking, cool. My two favorite people like each other. I had no clue. I was basically handing them both a free pass to betray me down the line. Anyway, for the first year of my marriage, things were fine, or at least they felt fine to me. Julia was always on her phone, sure, but she had always been that way. She still made time for us, still acted affectionate. We went on trips, had people over, went to dinners, the usual stuff. If there were signs, I did not notice them. Then things started getting a little weird. It started with the lunches. Julia and Brandon would go out to lunch without me, not once or twice, but regularly. At first it was, we were both free and you were slammed with work, and I bought that. I really did. Then it was, we were already out running errands and figured we would grab something. I figured whatever. I trusted them both. Why would I think anything weird was going on? Julia did not have many friends in the area, and Brandon knew her through me, so it kind of made sense. They got along. They also started sending each other memes. Dumb stuff. Sometimes she would laugh while scrolling and I would ask, what is so funny? And she would go, oh, just something Brandon sent me. I would ask to see it, and she would suddenly act like it was not that funny anymore. Or just show me something totally unrelated. I remember one time she straight up closed her messages and said, it is not even that funny, never mind. And yeah, that stuck with me. That is when I started noticing the weirdness. I brushed it off for a while, told myself I was being paranoid. I was tired, busy, stressed from work, and she was not being cold or mean, just distant sometimes. I chalked it up to her being bored. And Brandon had been flaky with me too, but he had always been a little like that when he got focused on something. I thought maybe I was just reading too much into nothing. But things did not stop there. Julia stopped initiating any kind of intimacy. I mean, we used to be all over each other. Then it turned into, I am tired, or I am bloated, or I am just not feeling it tonight. Over and over again. I asked her if something was wrong and she said, you are always working. I feel like I do not even see you. And yeah, that hit me a little. I was working a lot. I was building something real, and I thought we were both in on that plan. I did not realize she was already making other plans. Meanwhile, Brandon started getting sketchy too. Canceled 2 of our usual Monday catch-ups. Told me he was not feeling great. One time, I called him about a billing issue, and he did not pick up. Then, Julia said he texted her to ask if I was okay, like, why would he text her instead of calling me back? The weirdest part is, even with all that going on, I still did not want to believe it. I felt like the only thing worse than being cheated on was accusing someone and being wrong. So I just kept quiet, took mental notes, paid attention, and then something happened that really messed with me. Julia told me she was pregnant. No big announcement, no cute surprise, just blurted it out one night when we were cleaning up after dinner. I stood there holding a dirty plate while she said, "I think I might be pregnant." She said she had not gone to the doctor yet and she wanted to be sure before we told anyone. I had a million thoughts at once, mostly shock, some panic, a little excitement. I asked how far along she thought she was and she said maybe 4 weeks. I asked if she was happy about it and she said, "I do not know yet." 2 weeks later she told me she had a miscarriage. Again, no details, no doctor visit, no paperwork, just I lost it. I tried to be supportive, but she shut down completely. Said she did not want to talk about it. I did not press, but something did not sit right. I asked one of her friends if she had told anyone. Her friend had no idea. No one did. That is when I started thinking harder about everything. The lunches, the memes, the weird vibe, the sudden pregnancy, the silence after. Something was not adding up. So, I made a plan. Julia started putting a lock on her phone, not just the screen. She turned off preview notifications too, so even if the phone was on the table, you could not see anything that came through. When I asked her why, she shrugged and said, "I just do not like how invasive phones are now." Right. Cool story. Brandon had gotten even more distant. We were supposed to have a Friday review for one of our biggest clients and he no-showed. Just straight up ghosted it. Said something came up and asked me to just loop him in later. This was not like him, at least not before all this. He used to be the guy I trusted to handle operations without me needing to worry. Around this time, I also noticed Julia had stopped wearing the bracelet I got her last year for her birthday. It was not even a big deal kind of thing. Just something I had made custom with a little engraving on the inside that only she and I would get. She loved it when I gave it to her. Wore it everywhere. Now it was gone. I asked once and she said she left it at her friend's place. The same friend who later told me she had not seen Julia in weeks. Little things. That is how it always is not it? It is not just one giant moment that crashes the house. It is 100 small cracks you ignore until the whole thing falls in on itself. I did not tell anyone what I was feeling, not my friends, not my family. I just kept it all in my head because I was not ready to be that guy, the one with the cheating wife and the backstabbing best friend. I did not want to be pitied. I did not want the "you deserve better" speeches. So, I waited and I watched, and I set up the camera. I told Julia I had a trip scheduled in Dallas, 4 days. I would be leaving Thursday, back late Sunday night. I made it sound real, packed a bag, forwarded myself fake flight information, even printed out an itinerary and left it on the counter. She barely glanced at it. "Bring me back something from the airport," she said, scrolling through her phone like I was not even in the room. Before I left, I installed a small hidden camera in the corner of the living room. It was subtle, one of those motion sensor cameras people use for pets. It looked like a little wall plug. I told her I bought it to check in on the dog while I was gone. She said cute, and walked off. I got in my car, drove across town and checked into a cheap hotel 10 minutes from my own apartment. I did not sleep much that first night. I kept wondering if I was doing the right thing. Like, what if I was wrong? What if I watched all this footage and it showed nothing? What if I really was just paranoid and burned out from work? The second night, I opened the feed and I saw Brandon walk in like he lived there. He did not knock. He used the side door. He came in carrying takeout, tossed his keys in the same bowl I use, and plopped down on the couch, like he had done it 1,000 times. Julia came out of the bedroom wearing my hoodie, the one I thought she had forgotten in the laundry, and sat down right next to him. They started eating, laughing, talking like they were in a relationship. Then she leaned over, kissed him, and curled up under his arm. It was not some accidental moment. It was not one of those heat-of-the-moment kind of things people say when they get caught. It was practiced, comfortable, like this had been going on a long time. I did not keep watching after that. I did not need to. 5 minutes was enough to change everything. I just stared at the screen for a while and closed my laptop. Then I sat in the hotel room for a good 1 hour. Just quiet. No music, no noise, no phone calls, just me breathing slow and steady like I was trying to keep from passing out. I texted Julia that night. "Trip is good. Had some flight delays, but I will be back Sunday," she replied 5 minutes later. "Okay, can you grab those fruit gummies from the airport? The sour kind." I almost laughed, like genuinely laughed. I think my brain could not even process how normal she was pretending to be. She was texting me like nothing was happening, like she did not have my best friend over for dinner and Netflix in our living room. The next morning, I called my lawyer, told him I wanted to start the divorce paperwork. I did not go into the whole story, just said I had solid evidence and I would send it over. He did not ask questions, just said, all right, let us get started. I spent the rest of the weekend pulling everything together. I downloaded the footage, made copies, checked all of Brandon's access to my business accounts, changed passwords, checked Slack logs. I knew I was going to make this clean, fast, and brutal. Because here is the thing. I was not going to beg. I was not going to confront her with tears in my eyes asking why. I was not going to yell at Brandon or try to fight him like I was on some trashy television show. I was not even going to give them a chance to explain. They already made their move. Now, it was my turn. By Sunday night, when I got home from my fake trip, I had already started making moves. First thing I did was get a second phone. Not for texting side chicks or anything, just for having secure calls and notes while I worked through all this. My main phone was synced to our home Wi-Fi, our shared calendar, everything. I did not want to risk her seeing anything out of place. The moment I walked in the door, Julia acted like she missed me. Said, "How was the trip?" In that voice people use when they are half listening. She gave me a lazy side hug and said, "Did you get my gummies?" I gave her the dumb candy and told her everything went fine. She did not even notice how quiet I was. She was too busy scrolling Instagram. Brandon, by the way, did not even text me while I was gone. No safe flight or good luck or anything, which was smart on his part considering where he actually was that weekend. But it just added to the pile. That night after Julia went to sleep, I got on my laptop and pulled up all the internal accounts Brandon still had access to. Project boards, Google Drive, company email, client databases. I took screenshots of everything, timestamps, file names, his user activity. Then I quietly started changing passwords. I was not going to cut him off all at once. That would have tipped him off. Instead, I created shadow versions of every system. Same names, same folders, same structure, but the real data got moved. Brandon kept working in the old ghost system, thinking everything was normal. But I was watching it all from a mirrored account, seeing what he touched, what he downloaded, who he messaged. I also started meeting with clients without him. Told them we were restructuring operations and I would be handling things personally for a bit. No one questioned it. Most of them were already more comfortable dealing with me anyway. I just made it sound like a quality control thing. Julia, meanwhile, had no idea. She was busy working on her podcast and going to hot yoga twice a week. At this point, she barely asked about my work. I could have been running a drug cartel and she would not have noticed as long as the rent was paid and her car stayed gassed up. Then, the part that really sealed it for me, I found a shared Google Doc Brandon had created and given Julia access to. I was not snooping. I just happened to log into an old Google account we used during the early days of the business. Turns out the idiot never cleared it. I clicked through some folders and found one labeled Next Phase. In that document, they had been brainstorming their own version of my agency, like literally copying it. Same service packages, similar pricing model, even my logo with a different color scheme. There were notes like who we would target first and which of his clients might jump. Julia had typed out ideas for names. Brandon had listed 5 of my current clients and written easy flips next to them. I took screenshots of the whole thing, sent it all to my lawyer. The dude was quiet for like 30 seconds on the phone before he said, "All right, we are going to have some fun with this." We put together a full packet. Camera footage, access logs, client data leaks, the Google document. It was airtight. My lawyer said we could hit them both with breach of trust, business interference, maybe even fraud if we could prove they tried using any of the company's protected information. And yeah, Julia was not technically an employee, but she had access to everything through me. Email, schedules, documents. I had shown her stuff casually over the years, not realizing she would use it against me later. At this point, I had 2 goals. Shut everything down before they even realized I knew. Make it legal, permanent, unforgivable. So I kept the act going, made her coffee in the mornings, asked her if she wanted anything while I was out, gave her little pecks on the cheek like we were still a normal couple. It was kind of messed up, but I was so calm about it I scared myself. I think I had emotionally checked out the minute I saw that video. I scheduled the bomb drop for the next Friday. That week, I took Brandon off 2 key projects, told him I was taking pressure off while we adjusted some things. I made sure he did not think twice. Then I gave Human Resources the go-ahead to prep a formal termination package for Julia. I pre-signed the divorce papers and handed them to my lawyer. I made sure she was going to be served when I knew she would be out with her sister, public enough to sting, private enough not to blow up. Then Friday came. At 10 in the morning, Brandon was locked out of every company system. By 10:30, he got the legal notice from my lawyer with a big fat cease and desist attached to it. By 11 o'clock, his name was off the website, off email, gone. Julia was served at exactly noon. I was not even home. I scheduled a massage and lunch with a friend. I figured if I was going to torch my entire fake life, I might as well do it with a relaxed neck and a full stomach. She texted me nonstop. "What is this? Are you serious? Can we talk?" I did not reply. Brandon texted too. "Hey man, I think there has been a misunderstanding." Yeah, I misunderstood when I thought either of you had my back. I sat on my balcony that night watching the city lights while their phones blew up, and for the first time in months, maybe longer, I felt completely calm. This was not over yet, but the fun part was just beginning. After Friday, the phones did not stop buzzing. Julia texted me about 40 times in 2 hours. Not exaggerating. The messages went from confused to angry to fake sweet and then back to pissed off again. You could tell she was trying different approaches to see which one would work. Like I was a puzzle she just had to unlock. "Why are you doing this? We can talk, babe. Please do not throw everything away. You are acting crazy. This is why I did not come to you about how I felt." I told her, "You have 1 hour to pack your stuff." I said, "And you are not allowed to come to this house again. I want you gone when I come back." She did not reply. She then showed up to the apartment unannounced. I was home. She must have timed it when she figured I would be there alone. I opened the door, and there she was, standing there with her arms crossed, and that same fake, calm voice she used the day she told me I worked too much. "I just want to talk." She said I did not say anything, just stepped aside and let her walk in. I do not know why. Maybe part of me wanted to hear what lie she would go with this time. She walked around the apartment slowly like it was some museum exhibit, like she was nostalgic for something she destroyed. Then she turned around and said it. "I made a mistake. I was not thinking straight. It was not supposed to go this far." I asked her one thing. "Was there ever a day where you felt guilty about it?" She hesitated. That was all I needed. I pointed at the door. "You need to leave. You are not welcome here anymore." She blinked a few times like she did not understand. Then she got angry. Said I was being cold. Said we should be able to talk like adults. I just repeated, "Leave." That is when she cracked. She sat on the edge of the couch, grabbed my arm, and started crying. Real crying. Not fake sobs, but that deep, panicked kind where it is clear she finally realized this was not some argument I would get over. She said she was sorry. Said she regretted it. Said she would do anything to fix it. I pulled her hand off me and stepped back. "You broke it. There is nothing left to fix." She begged me not to do this. Said she had nowhere to go. I told her that was her problem now and that I did not cause it. Then I opened the door and waited. Eventually she stood up, walked out without another word. I closed the door behind her and locked it. Did not look through the peephole. Did not check if she was still standing there. Just turned around and went to make coffee. Brandon did not go as hard, but he still had the nerve to act like he did not know what was happening. Like I did not have literal video evidence and a digital paper trail. "I think there has been a mistake. Can we talk? It is not what it looks like." It was exactly what it looked like. It was more than that, honestly. Over the weekend, I started hearing from people, mutual friends, clients, random contacts I had not spoken to in months. Apparently, Julia and Brandon both started doing damage control the minute they realized they had been caught. Julia told her friends that I just snapped out of nowhere, that I'd been neglecting her emotionally for years and that she was not cheating, just reconnecting with someone who understood her. Brandon was trying to spin it as a misunderstanding between partners, and claimed that he had no idea things were that serious between me and Julia, like we were not married, like he had not been to our wedding, like he had not given a speech at our reception. The problem with all that, the people they were trying to lie to already knew the truth. A couple of the people I sent evidence to had forwarded screenshots to others. Some even warned me, "Hey, they are trying to rewrite the story, just a heads up." I told them I was not worried because I was not. I had the receipts, and if they really wanted to start lying to mutuals, I was more than ready to drop the full folder in a group chat and walk away. Brandon got hit even harder. I waited until Monday morning to post the official update on our company's site and client newsletter. It was short and clean. Brandon is no longer affiliated with this client and has been permanently removed from all accounts and operations. Please contact me directly for all future communication. No drama, no details, just a big loud door slam. By noon, I got 3 messages from clients saying they had gotten emails from Brandon trying to clarify things. He had tried to pitch himself as a solo consultant, told them he was still available for help if they wanted to continue working with him separately. That was the final straw. My lawyer sent out cease and desist letters to anyone he contacted. The documents were airtight. Between the stolen data, the Google document outlining their little plan, and the non-disclosure agreement Brandon signed when he joined the company, there was zero wiggle room. By Tuesday, he was completely locked out. Not just of my business, but of every circle connected to it. I found out one of our mutual industry friends had been on the fence about hiring him for a project. After I sent the proof, they ghosted him and hired someone else within a day. Word spreads fast, especially in our industry and especially when you burn the wrong bridge. Julia, meanwhile, was posting fake motivational quotes on her stories like she was going through a breakup, not a divorce she caused. Stuff like, sometimes people leave because your energy is too pure. Healing is not linear. You cannot dim the light of a woman who knows her worth. I almost choked on my sandwich reading that one, like she was the victim here. Like I had not spent 2 years building a life with her while she was sneaking around with a guy I treated like a brother. But here is the part that really made me realize just how far she had fallen out of touch. She tried suing me. Yeah, Julia filed a claim for financial hardship and emotional distress. Said I blindsided her, that she had become financially dependent on the lifestyle we shared, and that she needed support while adjusting to the changes. My lawyer called me and said, "You are going to want to sit down before you read this." I did not sit. I laughed. Then I scanned the whole thing and sent him the footage again just in case he needed a reminder of who we were dealing with. We showed the court everything. Her messages, the fake pregnancy, the footage of her and Brandon, the Google documents. The judge did not just throw the case out. He gave me the green light to go after legal fees. So now she owed me. Not just emotionally, not just in karma points, in actual money. Her side tried to delay the payment, tried to negotiate, even offered to settle. I said no. Let it go to court. Let it be on record. You want to play hardball? Cool. Let us play. She is not paid yet, by the way. Says she is working on it. Brandon tried starting his own consulting agency. It lasted exactly 3 weeks. Site got taken down. His LinkedIn still says founder, but there is no company information. I heard from someone he has been applying for jobs under a slightly different name. Like, that is going to change anything. Now, the thing is, I could have just moved on. I really could have. I had the business, the apartment, my name was clean. Their little he went crazy act did not land, especially after the evidence started making the rounds. But I was not done. See, I did not just want to walk away. I wanted to make sure they could never use me as a stepping stone again. And more importantly, I wanted to make sure they never pulled this on anyone else. I had spent years building a reputation in my industry. Quiet, solid, dependable. Clients trusted me with sensitive stuff. E-commerce security, user data, contracts, analytics. That kind of trust does not come easy. And the idea that Brandon had been trying to poach clients using information I gave him, that stuck with me. So, I talked to a buddy of mine, let us call him Marcus, who works in digital risk and compliance. He had helped with client-side security audits before, and I asked if he would take a look at our logs from before the split. He pulled some stuff I had not even noticed. Turns out Brandon had installed a third-party extension in our customer relationship management months before I caught them. It was scraping data, client contacts, project timelines, even internal notes. I had thought it was just him snooping manually. But no, he had automated some of it. He was building a copy of my system on the side while pretending to work for me. So now we had unauthorized data extraction on top of everything else. And since client information was involved, we had grounds for data abuse and attempted misuse of protected intellectual property. This was not just revenge anymore. This was turning into criminal-level shady. We drafted a full report, sent it to my legal team, but I did not want to go nuclear immediately. I wanted to give their actions a chance to bury themselves first. And sure enough, they did. 2 weeks after the failed lawsuit, Julia launched a new creative marketing agency, which was just a site with buzzwords, stock photos, and no services listed. But then someone forwarded me her business pitch deck. Guess who co-wrote it? Brandon. Same design, same pricing tier, same pitch language from mine, word for word. I found 3 paragraphs copy-pasted from one of the white papers I wrote in 2022, right down to the formatting. So now they were back at it again, trying to relaunch using a different name but the same stolen crap. I took the full deck and handed it off to my lawyer and Marcus. We filed a formal complaint for intellectual property theft. Then we flagged the domain. Then we contacted the website host. The site was taken down in 36 hours. Marcus and I set up Google Alerts and tracked down the LinkedIn job posts Julia had set up. She was trying to recruit interns for this new venture. All unpaid, all shady. The listings made it seem like they were backed by a bigger firm, mine. I reported every single one, and I sent warnings to the job boards explaining the legal filings and the history. They took down all the listings and blacklisted her account. We went one level deeper. Brandon had a GitHub account where he was uploading cloned templates of our tools, pretending they were open-source experiments. They were not even edited. He just slapped his name on them and changed the footer. GitHub took them down immediately once we flagged it. Then I forwarded that history to one of the biggest clients he had been trying to impress for months, a company we both used to work with. That client messaged me directly and said, "Thanks for the heads up. We will stay far away." That was the last I ever heard about Brandon getting interviews in our field. As for Julia, well, she was not done either. She tried launching a TikTok account to build a branding and healing platform. She started posting vague breakup story times and passive-aggressive quotes about narcissists. People in our city recognized her immediately. Screenshots of the lawsuit got posted in the comments. Someone even stitched one of her videos with a quote from her failed support claim. The account disappeared a few days later. A week after that, I got an email from her personal account. It said, "I know you think you have won, but you have ruined both our lives. Was it really worth it? I do not even care about the money anymore. I hope you are proud of what you have done." I did not reply, not because I did not have a response, but because there was nothing left to say. She and Brandon made a choice. They thought I would be too busy, too soft, too slow to catch on. They thought I would fall apart and they could rebuild on top of my wreckage. But I was not wrecked. I was rebuilding before they even realized the floor was falling out from under them. And when they finally looked up, there was nothing left for them to climb back to. I am doing great now. And I started dating too. She is an amazing, loving girl away from all the drama. I've also moved offices, hired 3 new people, and signed 2 of the biggest clients I have ever worked with. I wake up with zero stress, no fake laughter echoing through the apartment, and no one draining me emotionally while pretending to be my teammate. Sometimes people ask how I stayed so calm through it all. Easy. I knew I was not the one who messed up. I gave them trust, loyalty, a life they did not earn.